Hey everybody, this is Derek. Hope everyone is doing magnificent. In this video, I'm going to be talking about alternate ways of getting out of the dollar. The key ways I've been talking about is into real assets, talk about stuff like food, water. Of course, water to me is in the food category, apparel, equipment that you need, stuff that is necessity items, stuff that you need to survive and do the things that you came to this planet that you want to do. Those are the necessity items that I talk about. Now the key about metals like gold and silver is this is stuff to get on the future. People talk, well, you can't eat gold, you can't eat silver. And to me, I have to disagree in the sense that I can trade these for food at a later point. Maybe I might not get as much of the food with the amount of silver or gold than I would today, but better than the dollar. An example of this would be if a silver coin could give my family 1 day's worth of food today. Maybe I might get 2 silver coins to give me 1 day's worth of food. But in dollar terms, maybe $20 is what I need for 1 day's worth of food. And it might be $140 in that time frame, therefore making the silver, the gold, an investment for the future. Now, I'm not going to talk about gold and silver much in this, as this is going to talk mainly about copper and nickel investing. As the silver coins or junk silver that we know of in Canada, 1967 and earlier, 1964 and earlier in the south of the border of the United States, they contain a high percentage of silver in their coins. And now they're selling for 13, 14 times than the denomination that it is printed on. This was because of poor monetary policy, inflation, and going off of the gold standard. So I'm going to start this off with pennies. What we see here is 17 pounds of copper pennies. These are pennies that are American, dated 1981 and earlier. These are Canadian pennies, and primarily Canadian pennies, dated 1996 and earlier. The Canadians went off of the copper standard about a decade and a half after the United States did. Throughout the years, they reduced the size of the pennies, meaning that a 1957 penny has more metal value than a 1992 penny. Nonetheless, they both contain, I think it's 98% copper. Now, nickel, on the other hand, as far as I know, every American nickel that is pretty much within the last 80 years or so is containing 75% copper, 25% nickel. And what this means is that the metal value of the coins right now is worth like 4.2 or something in that area, like 4.2 cents, meaning it is almost worth what it is printed on. The pennies are already worth more than what it is printed, what they're printed on. They might be like 1.6, 1.7 cents. And if it's Canadian, it depends on the year, because obviously the ones that have a higher weight are worth more. The Canadian nickels are a little different, as they went off of the nickel and copper standard at the end of this last decade in 1999, which means all nickels in Canada from the years of 82 to 99 contain 75% copper, 25% nickel, pretty much the same as the American ones. Before that, 1981 and earlier, they contain 99% nickel. Now, I think in the 1950s, there were a couple years, 44, 45, wartime nickels. They were made out of steel. If you see them, they're very, very simple. I'm trying to look to see if I have any nearby, and I don't. But nonetheless, they contain cheaper metal. I guess the only value they would have is for historical or collector's value. But the metal on those, you don't get many of them anyway, so don't worry too much about it. Key thing about this is it is a safe protection from the currency collapse. As if the dollars don't collapse, everything is fine, this whole panic was just a false flag panic, and everything becomes fine, the coins that you get can be redeemed back to the bank. This here is 50 rolls of pennies. They contain pennies dated 1997 and later in Canada, and 1982 and later in the United States. They have the cheap metals. Why am I keeping them? Because they have value to it. Yes, the value might be like 8 or 9 or 10 of them might take you to get the value of a penny metal-wise, but I look at it this way. There is $25 of fiat money here, which is virtually the same as this. And in fact, the bank would give me this for everything in here. But if the currency collapses, would you rather have this piece of paper and this piece of paper, or 2,500 cheap little shiny metals? Because I can actually find creative ways to use this. I could use this for working out, for weights. I could use this as for fishing. I could make it a, you know, those things you throw in the water. I'm trying to think of the name for it. Okay, one of those blackout moments. Well, the thing to hold your boat down. Why I can't think of the name is boggling my mind right now. I should. But anyway, there's so many different ways that you could use this. Heck, I could use this as weapons. I could throw this at people, but obviously I wouldn't do such a thing. Nonetheless, it's real assets. When you have paper dollars, it is worth what they are printed on. The coins are worth what they are printed on. So the question is, what's going to be more valuable? 10 dimes or 4 quarters? That's a tough question. 10 dimes or a $1 bill? That may not be as difficult. 10 dimes or 20 nickels? Noting that the nickels in the United States contain copper and nickel, I think that one is pretty simple. But like I was saying, the silver quarters and dimes sell for 13, 14 times more. The pennies are already worth more than what they're printed on, and it wouldn't be a surprise to see worth now 2 times, 3 times, 4 times, 5 times, and so on, more than what it is printed on. So this is one investment idea. Now the easiest way to get these is to go to the bank, buy whatever dollars worth at a time, 10, 20, $30 worth, and then there you have some money that is going to be better sustainable during this currency crisis. I was actually talking with somebody that actually was my former boss, but a friend, and he was mentioning that the Dollarama in my local area is now charging a lot of products at $1.25 and $2. So we're starting to see the inflation come over there. And I haven't been in that store since the summer of this year. And at that point, it was pretty much $1 for everything. So it seems as if their prices are going higher. Now, we mentioned that another dollar store in the area is still at the same prices, so I'll probably go there and just get some assets that work out. Now, that's what George Fertitle was mentioning in one of his previous videos, that people just go into these places and just buy whatever for the purpose of trade later, and I highly recommend this. Now, of course, a lot of people will say, well, it's made in China and it's very cheap and you get what you pay for, which is very, very true. And that's why if you do go to these stores, you want to take a look at what you're getting and see if it's truly an asset or not, as a lot of the products in there are that of junk. But like I said, you go in there, you see that they have like paper pads on, 3 for $1. Well, then I might buy 30 bucks worth, because I know that people are still going to need to write stuff down. That's the type of mindset that I've been using. Thank you for watching, everybody. Take care. Bye-bye.